Hi everyone. So this week for our missional prayer focus, we are going to be praying for Wiseways Childcare Centre. Now, Wiseways isn't just a daycare that runs out of Lambrick's building. It's a really important part of Lambrick's ministry and our outreach to the Gordon Head community and has been for many, many years now. So today I caught up with Don Crawford, who is the interim director of Wiseways, and Lisa Thompson, who is going to be taking on the role of director in the coming weeks and months when she returns from maternity leave. And they told me all about how the COVID-19 situation has affected Wiseways and how we can be praying for them in the coming days. Okay. So, firstly, I'd like to introduce you, Don. Hello. And why don't you tell everyone a little bit about who you are and what your involvement with Wiseways is?
Yeah, my name's Don Crawford, and I've been around Lambrick 20 years in all kinds of roles on staff in the 2000s and on committees, on the elder board, lots of different things. And more recently, helping Wiseways through some transition and some growth, and here we are. So I've been assisting Wiseways Council and staff in three main ways this last couple of years. First was expansion, and just to be sustainable. And so we, in cooperation with the church, opened a third classroom in the little green cottage next door. And secondly, doing the transition from a hybrid of preschool and childcare into a full childcare model. And thirdly, leading the search for a full-time director for Wiseways, because with the size and the complexity now with licensing and everything, it's time for a director. And so on that note, I get to introduce Lisa Thompson, who this time next month is starting as Wiseways permanent director.
All right, hi, I'm Lisa Thompson. I've been working at Wiseways since 2011 in different roles. I started out working as a support worker, and I've worked different roles from teacher's aide to educator and manager. And I'm currently on maternity leave and will be starting in the role of director at the end of June. I grew up in South Africa and moved to Canada when I was 7. And my family is a ministry family. My dad's a pastor. So I grew up going to the churches where he pastored. And the most recent was Church of Our Lord, where I became involved with the Table Church, which was a church plant out of Victoria. So I was a part of their launch teams for both their downtown location and their peninsula location, where I attend church now. And I've been involved in ministry there in different roles over the last few years. And that's also where I met my husband, Terry. And Terry and I have been married for 7 years, and we have 2 kids. My daughter is Isla, and she's 4, and she also goes to Wiseways. And my son is 10 months old, and his name is William.
Fantastic. So can you tell us a bit about, as the whole world has been getting its head around COVID restrictions and keeping everything kind of within the government recommendations, how has life changed at Wiseways? What have things been like over the last few months for you guys?
So we had to make some pretty big decisions pretty fast over spring break. The center is closed the first week of spring break, but scheduled to reopen. So we had multiple intense meetings about safety and all kinds of things in that space, and ended up closing for that second week, and then another set of decisions about closing indefinitely until things were in enough alignment to reopen safely. So that's number one priority, is safety of the kids and their families and the staff. So we have lots of conversations about bubbles and how big they are and how porous they are or aren't. So we've been paying extremely close attention to what's coming out of the Ministry of Health and Childcare BC, and Island Health and our licensing body for childcare on a daily and if not hourly basis as to what's coming out. And about 10 days ago, we got enough information, enough direction from Childcare BC and the authorities to start the conversation about reopening. So we are going to reopen Monday, June 1st, which is 10 days out or so now. And so we're working hard on all those preparations.
Great.
Yeah, and our managers, Terry and Michelle and Dawn and I have been working on creating some COVID-19 protocols from everything from arrivals to drop-offs and pickups and how we can do that safely and adapting our daily operations in order to create a safe environment for the children and looking at our policies and how we can make the transition safe, but also simple for everyone involved.
So last week, we rolled out to our Tier 1 and Tier 2 essential services families, and then Tier 3, and then the rest of the families of the 48 spots, childcare spots that we usually have full. And so it's looking like we're opening at about 25% capacity. So 2 of our 3 classrooms will be open, and those kids will be spread out in the space there with just lots of different programming. And it's going to look very, very different. But the council and the staff were committed to getting open again, especially for these essential service families, because we want to. That's what Wiseways does. We're there for the community, so that's been a big, big piece of it. And I would just say also that Lambrick has been incredibly supportive all along the way. You know, as we've dialed into different parts of Lambrick, the board and the staff and the COVID team to walk with us through these big decisions, because Wiseways is a big part of Lambrick, and we had to be in alignment on that. So Lambrick has been fabulous in supporting us. We want to say thanks there too.
Well, thanks to you guys for keeping those kiddos safe by making all these important decisions so carefully. So finally, how can we be praying for you as a church in the coming weeks?
Yeah, we're going to need lots of prayer as we move forward in these new stages of life at Wiseways. But first and foremost, for health and safety for the children and the staff and all of their families. And just peace to know that God is in control and that his hand of protection is over everyone there. And that continued funding from the government to be able to continue to offer these services to families at this limited level, but also guidance and wisdom for all of the decision makers for Wiseways, but also in the government as they provide us with guidelines and direction as we move forward.
Great. Well, thank you to Don and Lisa for taking the time out to give us that little video update. And it's so exciting to hear that Wiseways is going to be starting back up again in the next few weeks. We'll definitely be praying for you guys and the whole Wiseways team as you start back up again and in the time to come.